You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. You were such a great resource for us when we talk state because you and Mike Leach obviously had such a good relationship, and it's odd talking about an LSU Mississippi State game, knowing number one that Mike Leach isn't there, but also how different that this game is going. Just the football is going to look without Mike Leach. I want to take this from two different ways. Number one is, what does it mean for Mississippi State just not having Mike Leach there, and then the other is just the changes in the football. But let's start with what that means not having him there.
It seems everywhere Mike goes, it seems like when he leaves, whether it's taking a new job or in this case, the tragedy, people crave him back because I think Mike's kind of like away from football. As we know, he was a different breed, Matty, and I think we all loved him for refreshing, right?
Yeah.
He would sing for you on a cameo thing, do a video for you, talk about cookies. I just think it was like Mike's just a wacko, and I mean that affectionately because I love the guy like family. I loved it and everything about him, and so many conversations that didn't just revolve around football for him, and I just about stupid stuff. And I think the stupid stuff kind of we relate to, meaning the silly stuff like when he's talking about this or talking about desserts, or I remember the video he did when he was talking about telling the guy not to get married, joking around, but and it's always so straight faced, and he's the Bill Walton of football.
Yeah.
You ask him one question, and Mike can take up 45 minutes with the answer, and you say, Mike, we've blown through 3 breaks, but cool, dude, keep it up. But I think they miss what's the word I'm looking for? The uniqueness of him, and man, I'm just telling you, Mike's never pulled punches about your feelings. You know what I'm saying about it? If he has something to say, he's just going to say it. And I think it was refreshing, not only to college football, plus the Pirate fit him. He does things unconventional, and his unconvention worked. And his personality matched the way he coached football. So it wasn't like it changed. So I think that's one thing they miss. And just the fact that let's not, all the quirkiness of Mike Leach, let's not forget, everywhere he went, they played better, and he's a hell of a football coach.
Yes,
and I think we know that. Now the switch on the field, they're obviously going to miss the play sheet that fit in the palm of his hand. That these guys like he and Lincoln Riley, and Dana Holger's like, what are you looking at? There's like 4 formations. What else are you looking at? And Mike was a stickler. Mike didn't want anything to do. I could know Mike for 100 years and say we could talk. He says, man, I love that, Sean. Well, Mike, I'll be your quarterback coach. He don't want anybody near his quarterbacks, and it's never going to happen, even when he's in heaven playing with the good Lord, right? As a football, the X's and O's, what the change is going to be different. You went from ball control, ball out, horizontal passing game, spread them out, edge rushing, a lot of screen game, get it out, which is good. This offense from App State, and Kevin's a good football coach, is – with the coordinator is, and they went outside the program and got something different. They are an explosive big play. You're going to see more vertical passing game. It's like the spread, but a power part of it. You know what I mean, Matty? They instead of getting to the edges a lot, they want to play downhill power in your face football. There's not one finger to is the spread offense mixed with power run game. It means something, but also the vertical play action. Not play action to throw a screen all the time and to run shallow crossers or mesh. It's they're explosives. You better be prepared for the big play because they want to break your back with those kind of things. And whenever you play Mississippi State, they're going to have an accurate passer. They always do. But this is more of a 20-plus attack the perimeter, but also attack vertically, mix in the horizontal where it used to be flip-flopped. Mike's offense and that air raid, you attack horizontally, get it out, run the football by spreading them out with big old wide splits. This is more muscle you, play downhill, wear you out in the physical run game, and they do want to be physical, but also hit you with play action and push the ball down the field vertically. You're going to get more attempts at that, which you can get a pass interference call or what have you. A little bit more pressure on the back end down the field than you'd see with a normal Mike Leach offense when he plays a little more horizontal football.
So which do you – and I know we talked last week, you and I talked last week about the defensive struggles LSU had against Florida State. And some of those in the secondary carried over into the first quarter against Grambling. I don't expect that you watched LSU Grambling, but they gave 173 yards in the first quarter against Grambling, and then they steadied themselves. But which is a bigger Achilles heel for the LSU defense, the Mike Leach style of spread them out, get it out quick, or this State offense where, Sean, I mean, Will Rogers this past weekend, who's thrown for 11,000 yards in his career, was 13 of 17 for 162. They just don't throw it.
They're going to have to throw it more, Matty, against it. They just are. And if they're dominating your run game, they'll just keep running the football. And Will Rogers can he is a very, as we've noticed, and coming from that Mike, he's an accurate passer. Here's the deal, though. You're a little bit, I mean, while they're physical, LSU always brings that to the table. What it does is when you're playing the type of offense they're playing now, the underneath coverage, it put more pressure on linebackers to run and make plays than LSU to scrape, that team speed of running sideline to sideline. This puts more vertical pressure to get if you're playing zone, linebackers in coverage over the second layer of throw, but it also puts a lot of pressure on your secondary, like all verts, which Mike ran, but off play action, because if you're a power run game, Matty, let me put you at safety for a second, right? Strong safety, and I'm a power run game. And I've got a good run game, and I've got an accurate quarterback, but our MO is to take some shots. But we're going to live with the power run game first. What's your normal reaction if you got 7 men and they're running against it, or 6 men if they spread you out? Is it you to get nosy in the box, right? You want to come down. I need you down around the line of scrimmage, right? Nosy for people listening, know that I need the strong safety getting down there and getting nosy. Well, what happens with that? You pull it out. Think what Tennessee used to do with Ryan Tannehill. It's a different type of offense, but with Derrick Henry, you have to defend run first. With Mike, and the spread, while they want to run it, do you really think about, I got to spread, defend the run first? No. You felt you had to defend the horizontal mesh passing game, run after the catch, because the ball came out so quickly. The best thing you can do against this with the pressure you'll put on the back end, because if you're playing 2 high safeties, now you're putting pressure on them, and they're half the field, and you got the whole shots and verticals and bender over the Mike linebacker. If they're playing a single high safety, which a middle of the field closed, now you're threatening that safety. You put the corners in a bigger bind, and the safeties, the back end's in a bigger bind with vertical passing game. The linebackers and good corners that can tackle the underneath horizontal passing game. But this is always scary when you play a team that wants to run it down your throat. Now, they're not going to get away with throwing it 12 times against LSU. They're going to have to take some throws, but when you get too nosy, they try to create numbers in the vertical pass and get a home run on you early in a game or in the middle of the second quarter when you're expecting second down run. So you got to stop the run in every game first, but the philosophy now has to change. You can't get too nosy. There's better athletes. I'm not to say they're not at Mississippi, better athletes at LSU, but you will, and they will study this defense. And if they find the weakness in the vertical passing, and they're going to take shots and thinking, if we throw 8 of them, hit 2 of them and get a pass interference call, we'll take those odds down the field.
Yeah. LSU Mississippi State Saturday. It's gonna be a different look. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, I gotta ask if your thought on Bama, and if Jalen Milroe is salvageable in that offense, or does Nick have to make a change to go with one of the other guys to see if they can build him up?
I think you're going to see more than one quarterback play a lot of times this year, Matty. I think I've been able to sit down with Milroe's dad. He's a Katy kid.
Okay.
And we sat and talked football about it when Bryce was there, about what he was learning and what he did. Now, listen, if you were in a straight downhill run game and Nick was old school Nick, and that's how you could survive, which obviously, as you see, we're in a college football landscape that even Alabama can't survive it, at least it seemed. Running downhill, playing the old school, win 17-10, 17-13, play all that defense, control the clock, throw 12 times, and have your quarterback run 8 or 10 or 12 of them, and we'll go home. You don't have that luxury anymore because, well, name, image, and likeness and transfer portal have leveled the playing field. That's for another conversation with Nick and his resistance to some of those things, and a guy like Dabo Swinney. But What happens is with Milroe, listen, I think I know who you are. I know he's a big physical kid. He's not leading the SEC, and throwing is not where you're going to live with him. I think Nick's philosophy this year, since he didn't have a Tua or a guy like Hurts or Tua or Bryce Young that could take over a game throwing it, I think he went in thinking, maybe I can go back to my day when we played defense, ran the ball, and shorten the game. But right now, you shorten the game, you go 3 and out. Quinn Ewers, the throwers in the SEC and all over the country are just too good. Yeah. So you can't salvage possessions if you're just going 3 and out, not dominating the line of scrimmage. And everybody's big now, and everybody's got athletes. So I would be shocked if Milroe was the only quarterback you saw. I think you'll see 2 or 3 of them until Nick finds, even if he's not looking for him, the guy who you're like, ooh, we discovered that guy can throw the football, and then you'll see the transformation. Nick's got to understand that 1998 and 2005 don't live here anymore. It's a different game, and I think he knows it, but he's still stubborn, which has made him good. But you saw in this landscape that you can't just run the football, and if you're not an efficient passer and you're playing the LSUs, the good teams in the SEC, the Georgias, they'll eventually get you because they're just as physical as you, and then it comes down to 8 to 10 throws a game. And Milroe's specialty is big physical runner, mix in a pass, not the other way around.
Last thing for you is the SEC bad?
I don't think, Maddie, when I think about the SEC and bad, I think we're too early to even suggest that yet. But SEC and bad, I don't think should ever come into play right now. There's too many good teams. Do I think that it's not as top-heavy dominant? I still got to see. While Alabama's loaded with the new quarterback, I want to see how they look when I do. I don't put it this way. I don't think there's a clear-cut, they're in the Final Four. While Georgia's the number 1 team in the country, I think Michigan can be as physical as them. I think that LSU's got a better quarterback than them. I think that Georgia could be upset by somebody that if Tennessee, I don't even know if they're playing, but if Tennessee were to play him and Milton got hot, or Jay, you can beat them.
That game is the second to last weekend.
Yes,
in Knoxville.
There you go, and that's dangerous. So we'll see how their quarterback young. I think the reason it's down, Matt, is the reason you went to Milroe. Look at the teams that are playing a lot. They're playing new quarterbacks. Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and you'd say, well, it doesn't matter. They just reload. Well, you saw it mattered in Alabama because if Quinn Ewers couldn't throw, guess what? They still don't win. So to me, I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's as clear cut that every year it's SEC. I think the Pac's come back. I think that there's a really good chance that you may see a national champion outside the SEC this year, although I'm never going to say it's bad. But I will tell you this, and we've been ripping my conference since I've been on with you the last couple of years, Matty, the depth of it and the Pac-12, the fact that we got the 2 teams. And I honestly think Washington State and Oregon State should just screw over the Pac-12 and play each other 12 times next year, home and away every week, right? And create a Red Sox-Yankees battle, right? A rivalry. The Pac-12 now, Oregon State, Colorado, Utah, USC, Washington, Oregon. And you know what they all have in common right now, Matty?
Got 8 ranked teams.
That we just that guy under center, aside from good coach, the guy at team speed and all that, SEC's got it. The guy under center is a little bit different than other, and their conference is elevated in its last year. So I don't think it's bad. I just don't think we have 6 teams in it where you're like, oh my gosh. Yet I can wake up on a day where Mississippi can go beat somebody that they're not supposed to beat that day. We're so quarterback driven. If you don't have home runs and big plays, it's hard to grind out 17 to 14 wins anymore, and I think you're going to see that this year. I'm not sure you're going to see an undefeated team in the SEC this year. I'm really not.
I agree with you. He is Sean Salisbury on Twitter, @SeanUnfiltered. He's with us every Tuesday here. It's always our pleasure. Sean, thanks, man. Looking forward to doing it again next week, man.
I love it, Matty. Thanks for having me on, as always, brother. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.